So welcome everyone to this week's Thursday 30. I'm delighted to have Simon from Dolphin with us this afternoon, and he's going to talk about EasyReader education and the SuperNova education kit, both really fantastic products. So I'm going to hand over to Simon to explain all about those. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you very much, Mary. The first challenge is, let's see if we can share the screen. So hopefully the PowerPoint slides are shown on the screen, Mary. If you could just give us a yes or tell me if it's not, but I'll move forward. So yeah, great to see everybody today. So my name is Simon Kitchen and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Dolphin Computer Access. For anyone who's not familiar with Dolphin, we're an assistive technology company based in the Midlands here in the UK, and we provide assistive technology to empower young people with special education needs so that they can read, learn, study independently in a way that works for them so they can succeed in school, in education, and prepare for the future. So today's session is very much about putting learner needs at the centre and needs-led learning with Dolphin Assistive Technology. And we're going to be looking at two products, as Mary said, which we provide here at Dolphin. We're going to look at EasyReader, our accessible book reading platform for young people with special education needs, and also SuperNova education kit, which is more of a targeted accommodation for young people with vision impairments. But before we do that, it's always good to reflect on some of the challenges facing our educators today. And firstly, we are seeing rising demands for special education needs provision. Government figures 19% of young people in education being in receipt of special education needs provision. And so this is already creating an environment which is, quite challenging for educators to meet need. And when you couple that with actually every young person's needs being very different, and the need for schools and educators to support a diverse range of needs, whether students are dyslexic, have ADHD or autistic, perhaps have a vision impairment, perhaps having co-occurring challenges as well, or other special education needs as well. It is pushing more and more pressure on our educators to provide the support that each young person needs. And coupled with that equally is that accommodations can be, quite time consuming, whether we're talking about accommodations to learning materials and rushing off to the photocopier or scanning in text or trying to find coloured overlays, or, having to remove accessibility barriers by having one-to-one teaching assistants reading text back to a student or describing what's on the whiteboard. And all of this is meaning that our educators have less time to spend supporting students, spending more time to remove those accessibility barriers, which means less time to support students to go to a greater level of depth with their learning. But on the flip side, we know that there are fantastic benefits in terms of making curriculum resources accessible. So at Dolphin, we were involved in a pilot project back in 2010, and this pilot project was looking at 100 curriculum resources and providing access to 100 curriculum resources and the assistive technology that each young person needed to read and learn. And that combination of accessible materials and assistive technology led to really great results. Included 71% of dyslexic students taking part in improving their reading, 71% of all of the student population involved in improving their level of achievement, 68% growing in confidence, and critically 100% of teachers saving time because they had a central bank of accessible resources. So where I mentioned about accommodations being time consuming, having access to curriculum resources in a way that's accessible at source was helping to save lots and lots of time for teachers, so that's more time to spend with students. But going back to the topic of today's session and really putting learning needs at the centre, and we know that there's an incredible range of benefits for young people when they're provided with the right tools, the right assistive technology tools to read and to learn. So firstly, in terms of empowering independence, so we're going to look now at some of the insights that we at Dolphin have had and can share from our teachers, from students, and also from research projects, which our friends at CENMAC have also been involved in as well. So in terms of helping our young people to be more independent with their learning. This is an action research project that actually Mary from was involved in at CENMAC. Students became less reliant on adult support when using EasyReader, so they are more independent. We have young people such as Charlotte, a vision impaired student, who's using SuperNova and saying, I don't have to ask someone what my screen says or to proofread my work. I can do that myself. And we have qualified teachers. We work with lots of qualified teachers who are vision impaired to provide the accommodations that the students need to read and learn, and really focus in there on the students really loving SuperNova Education Kit, which we're going to go through in a short while, because it's providing access to the curriculum, helping our young people to develop those skills to be independent. They're going to need those skills in higher education and in the workplace, as well as helping learners to become more independent. Having access in a format that works for a student is actually very good in terms of reading, in terms of engagement and motivation. So looking at some of the insights from action research projects that Dolphin have been involved in, students were more engaged in reading for pleasure sessions and critically remaining in class and not spending time out of a class, and in fact using EasyReader on an iPad as a tool for self-regulation as well, which is a really powerful statement. There. A young person called Chelsea, who's vision impaired, saying that with SuperNova, I can keep up with everyone else in class. I'm no different. And we know that our young people want to be standing out for their abilities and not feeling different because of their challenges as well. So really good there. And again, I think this is another highlight from the action research project, which Mary and CENMAC were involved in. Students reporting a higher level of motivation and confidence when using EasyReader in comparison to print books. And some students, in fact, then taking that and reading at home a lot more than they did previously as well, which is great to hear. And the knock-on effect of helping young people to read and learn independently and becoming more motivated and engaged with their learning is achievement. So again, some of the insights from our action research project, being able to use EasyReader as a student could accurately recall the main themes and events from a book, so it's helping them to go to a greater level of depth with their learning. Equally, a student called Eva from West London saying that EasyReader allowed her to engage with her coursework in a way that suited her learning style, and so she could walk into her exams feeling well prepared and confident. And finally, a young person called Iona saying that SuperNova has made her feel so much more independent, and that she had managed to achieve the grades herself and get 3 distinctions, and without the assistive technology, without the accommodations, that's something that would have been impossible for her to do. So as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at 2 products today. The first of which we're going to be looking at is EasyReader Education. So EasyReader is an accessible reading platform designed to empower students with special education needs to learn without limits in a way that truly works for them. So it's all about supporting learners, and we know, going back to the challenges at the start and a diverse range of needs that are, that are evident in schools around the UK. We've got a reading accommodation with EasyReader to support students, whether they are dyslexic or vision impaired or have ADHD or other special education needs. It focuses on providing access to curriculum material in a way that truly works for each and every individual student. And this enables them to read to learn, whether they are at school or at home. EasyReader is available on a range of devices. It's available on, we're going to be showing it today on a laptop, but it's also available on iPads, iPhones, and when you download books on your device at school, you can pick up where you left off simply by logging on a separate device at home. So it's helping to bridge that divide between reading at school and at home as well. And the beauty of EasyReader and the accessible reading platform is it means that all of your curriculum material as a young person are made accessible in one place with EasyReader and available at the point of need. So EasyReader works with a range of different libraries, including RNIB Bookshare, which provides 1.4 million education titles. It also connects to Calibre Audio, which has 22,000 audiobooks, and you can also import teacher shared content from Google Classroom or Microsoft Education as well. So I'll just stop the screen share, and what I'll do is I'll spotlight myself, and then we'll switch over to showing EasyReader. So this is EasyReader. As I mentioned, EasyReader is available on a range of devices. I'm showing it today on a Windows device, but it's also available on iPads, iPhones, Android smartphones and tablets, and also Chromebooks or Kindle tablets as well. That's the tablets, not the e-readers for Kindle. And as I mentioned, the beauty with EasyReader is it's a central place for all of our young people's curriculum material. So we've got access to RNIB Bookshare, we've got access to Calibre Audio at the top, and other libraries such as Microsoft Education for the teacher shared content as well. So if we go into RNIB Bookshare, I'm going to open RNIB Bookshare, and I've given some options here. Now, as a student, I can either read books which have been assigned to me by my teacher, which teachers can do using reading lists, or I can search the entire collection. As I mentioned, RNIB Bookshare has 1.4 million curriculum-aligned titles, and it covers the entire education landscape as well. So if I was to search for early years reading, maybe The Great Fire of London, I can find books available for early years reading, or if I was to search for Oxford Reading Tree or those types of things. If I was to search for more sort of GCSE level texts, so To Kill a Mockingbird, then we've got titles available here for To Kill a Mockingbird and other GCSE texts. If I wanted to search for revision guides, because we know how important it is for our students to be able to revise and prepare for exams, there's a range of different resources available. We are short on time today, so I won't try and download any of the resources. I've done my best Blue Peter job of here's one I've made earlier, but a couple of extra notes on RNIB Bookshare. If anyone isn't familiar, it's a wonderful, wonderful service, and it's free to educators in the UK. And you can sign your school up and then add students, and any young person who has what's termed a print-based disability is eligible. So that's any young person who is dyslexic, autistic, has a vision impairment, or other learning disability is eligible to use the service as well. So if we open a book, I mentioned at the very start about the importance of being able to support students with very different needs, and this is where EasyReader really comes into its own. So if we were to be support, now we've got the book loaded, we can do all the things that you'd expect to do with a digital book, such as skip into different chapters and headings. We can search the book. So for example, if there's any particular words in here, this is To Kill a Mockingbird, so I know that there's the word assuaged, which is a bit of a tricky word as well. We can do all the sorts of things you'd expect to do with a digital book, but we can also customize the experience to make it accessible for our particular needs. So if we're supporting maybe young people who are dyslexic, we can increase text size. We can change, and when you increase the text size, the text wraps to the screen, so it's nice and accessible. We can also choose dyslexia-friendly fonts, which I know are to some people's liking and not to others, but it'd be great to hear your sort of feedback on the dyslexia-friendly fonts as well. We can also choose individual colours. So if we are supporting young people with Erling syndrome, they can choose maybe a light blue background instead of the sepia sort of coloured background, and we can really customise the text so it's accessible. And then when we start the playback, EasyReader uses natural sounding voices to read through, and this really helps students to follow along as they're reading and to get a better understanding of the content. So I'll just quickly press the play button for you.
When it healed and Jim's fears of never being able to play football were assuaged, he was seldom self-conscious about his injury.
So whereas the text is reading, it's a nice natural sounding reading voice, and there's lots of different voices in EasyReader to choose from. There's voices in different languages: American English, French, Spanish, German. I chose the voice Malcolm there, but there's lots of others to choose from. The idea as well being, if you have a French book, you probably don't want an English voice to read that French text, so you can also pick a high quality French voice for modern foreign languages as well. So we've kind of touched base on it, supporting young people with dyslexia. If we're supporting perhaps young people with struggling with attention, we can actually specify for EasyReader to read 1 line of text at a time, or 3 lines or 5 lines of text at a time. And now we've got a much more immersive reading experience as we're going through as well. So we can help our young people to focus on the text of their reading. We can also support young people with vision impairment as well. So firstly, EasyReader works with a range of different screen readers. On iPads, you can use the built-in accessibility called VoiceOver. On Android devices, you can use TalkBack. It's a similar sort of thing to iPads. And you can use screen readers such as SuperNova and JAWS on Windows devices as well. But you can also make additional accommodations. For example, you can change the colors to more sort of high contrast or darker colors, particularly to sort of improve the contrast and reduce any visual glare. So we've got a great flexibility with EasyReader to be customizing the reading experience, so you can read and learn in a way that truly works for you. I mentioned before, and I know that we're pushed for time today, so I won't show this, but any content that I download and read in EasyReader on my device at school will be available to me at home, along with any bookmarks that I make. So for example, if I wanted to make a bookmark here, maybe to add a definition for a tricky word, that will then be available for me at home as well as my reading position, so I can pick up and start reading from where I left off. I'm very quickly now going to share the screen, which is the right screen to share. So hopefully you can see a web page now. So when a school invests in EasyReader, they get access to a dashboard where they can manage student access and manage teacher access as well. So this is a really great flexible way of working with students, and we also get insights into student reading activity. So I was using the student profile, student 4, and if I go into the analytics, I then get a list of all the books that this student has been reading, how far through have they been reading, and this is a really great way of flagging if perhaps accommodations aren't working, or celebrating successes if students are reading more as well. So I get really good insights into reading activity. We also get access with EasyReader to our CPD training courses, and this is ideal for teachers to make accessible reading an everyday normal activity. So we've got courses for accessible reading for educators, and also a course on SuperNova for educators as well, which is extremely popular. We'll go back to our PowerPoint slides. So we've covered EasyReader. One thing to mention is that coming soon to EasyReader are brand new Explore tools, and these are incredibly exciting. So we've got all of our learning material in one central place, so we can read and learn at school and home, but now we can use tools to break the decoding barrier, so we can take our text and quickly create summaries, take quizzes, flashcards, ask the tutor a question, and these tools are designed to support students with their learning. They're designed to support learning, so the tools won't give you the answer if you ask a question. They'll guide you in the book to where to get the answer from. So this is helping our young people to be more independent with their learning and go to a greater level of depth. These are available very soon, and if you start a trial, you'll be one of the first to benefit from these exciting new tools. So I'm really looking forward to going into more detail about that. So we've spoken about EasyReader, and we are going to be looking quite ambitiously at 2 products today, and the second is SuperNova Education Kit. And SuperNova is all about empowering young people with vision impairments to read, to study, and to learn in a way which is accessible for them. Whereas EasyReader is an accommodation which works throughout the school for lots of different students with a range of needs. SuperNova is very targeted towards vision impairment, and it's personalised for any level of sight. And it provides independent access to a range of curriculum materials and the classroom environment, so students can independently complete their classwork, worksheets, they can view the whiteboard and read textbooks as well. As I mentioned, the goal is to help our young people with vision impairments to engage with their learning, succeed at school, and develop those skills that they need to succeed in the future. So we'll go back. Hopefully I'm still full screen. We'll go through, because we're quite short on time, but we'll go through a very quick overview of SuperNova as well. So SuperNova is, as the education kit, is available on a touchscreen laptop, and it also comes with a camera as well, which is ideal for interacting with print. SuperNova is an accessibility tool, so you can customize the way that you work on this Windows laptop to suit your needs. If you have low vision, you have options to magnify the screen, to choose accessible color schemes as well, and to explore the screen with a high contrast mouse pointer. If your students have maybe fluctuating vision and perhaps need support from a text-to-speech voice to read back documents, there are a range of speech settings which you can turn on and off. And if your students are more severely sight impaired or Braille readers, you can also connect Braille devices to EasyReader, to SuperNova, sorry, as well, so that you can read the screen and explore the screen using Braille. And finally, EasyReader is also embedded in SuperNova. So everything I've shown you before with EasyReader is also available within SuperNova as well. So where we're talking about personalisation, it's really flexible to explore the screen with SuperNova depending on each learner's needs. You can use the mouse to explore the screen, and you get a nice big mouse pointer which is customizable. You can explore using the keyboard, so I'm just pressing the tab key to move through the different options now. If I had the voice on, that would be spoken back to me. But what we find lots of our young people, particularly young people with low vision, prefer is using the touch screen to zoom in. Now you can't see my hands because of the way that I'm sharing the screen, but I'm just going to use the touch screen now to move around the screen and zoom into where we have color schemes. And what the young people are particularly liking is that they're in more control. SuperNova is zooming into where they're pointing to on the screen, so it gives them a greater level of control. And as you can see, the text stays really smooth. What we often find with magnification solutions is text can become pixelated, but with SuperNova, it always stays perfectly smooth, even at the highest levels of magnification. So what can we do with SuperNova in terms of a classroom environment? Well, first of all, we can complete our work independently. So I've just opened a Word document, but SuperNova works with a range of different Windows apps, and these are all of the different applications that students are going to need throughout education and as they go into the workplace as well. I can zoom in. If I wanted to change the colors, I can do so. As I'm moving around the screen, SuperNova is tracking where I am. So even if I go up to high levels of magnification, I don't get lost and I don't get disorientated. If I do get lost, maybe I've moved the mouse to the edge of the screen, I'm not sure where I am, all I have to do is press the arrow key and it jumps me straight back to where I was. So I've got support there for, from a low vision perspective, I can interact with this document, complete my work independently without needing a scribe in a way that works for me. If I do need speech support, I can turn the voice on.
Speech on.
And now as I'm typing, each character and each word will be read back to me.
H-E-L-L-O. Hello space.
And if I wanted to proofread my work, I've got a really quick and easy read from here option, and that's just going to do a continuous read of the text and highlight and track each word as it's reading.
Characters is Arthur Boo Radley, although he rarely appears directly in the story. Boo plays a Dolphin cursor off.
And when you stop the playback, it places the cursor exactly where on the last word that was spoken as well.
Speech off.
So you've got, as a young person with vision impairments, you've got accessibility for all of the Windows apps that you need to succeed in school and the workplace. But we've also got tools within SuperNova to make the classroom environment and more classroom content accessible. Firstly, I've got the whiteboard option on the control panel, and this enables me to view the teacher's whiteboard on my screen. I can zoom in, I can change the colors, I can even multitask. If I take the mouse to the edge of the screen, I'll go back between my Word document and back again into my whiteboard. So I'm not reliant on a teaching assistant describing what's on the screen, and I can sit anywhere in the class as well. We also have support for cameras, and the education kit comes with a high quality camera, so I can view print-based resources. I can view them on the screen and zoom in and out. I've also got the facility to have these read back to me, so I can open my worksheets in a accessible reader, and SuperNova will read them back to me.
Chapter questions for To Kill a Mockingbird Part 1 Chapter 1:1. Who is the narrator of the novel?
Who is the narrator of the novel? I've also, as a young person who's vision impaired, got the tools that I need to be able to complete this worksheet independently as well. I can annotate with boxes and put boxes around the right answer. I can enter text boxes as well if I want to. I can annotate this work and complete this worksheet alongside my sighted peers in a way that works for me as well. So I've got lots of accessibility for print-based resources. What we often find is that there's a lot of visual-based content in schools as well as part of the curriculum. And even when I was shown on the screen a diagram of a volcano, as I zoom in, it can be a bit disorientating for young people with low vision to get the context of where I am on the screen. The latest version of SuperNova now includes an image descriptions feature which uses AI. So we can ask AI to provide a really, really rich, detailed image description. I'll just turn the magnification off so it appears on the screen. A really rich image description so that I'm not reliant on a teaching assistant reading this back to me. I can be independent, get accessibility, get the descriptions I need for charts and diagrams and all sorts of image-based content. And then I've got the text-to-speech voice to read it back to me.
The image is an educational diagram titled Anatomy of a Volcano. It illustrates the different parts of the volcano with labels pointing to each section.
So I won't play through the whole description, but it's a really, really good description of the image there as well. So we've got really good accessibility with SuperNova for the whole classroom environment. And as we mentioned, it's helping our young people to be more independent and more engaged with their learning, so they've got the tools that they need to succeed in school and prepare for the future as well. And as I mentioned, on the control panel, EasyReader is embedded, so as well as being able to complete schoolwork, we've got access to the RNIB Bookshare collection of accessible 1.4 million accessible titles as well. We'll just go very quickly back to our screen share because we've got a couple more slides. One more slide, Mary will be pleased to know, because I appreciate the Thursday 30 might be creeping ever so slightly over. But we've got resources available on the Dolphin website for more information. You've got information about SuperNova Education Kit and EasyReader Education at yourdolphin.com/EasyReader. All Dolphin products come with a free 30-day trial, so you can try it for yourself and with your students to make sure it's the right accommodation for you. As I mentioned, we have online CPD accredited courses, EasyReader for educators, or accessible reading for educators, I should say, and SuperNova for educators as well. And now everything that we've been through is very much a whistle-stop tour because there's so much details that we could go into, and it'd be great to hear if you have any questions today. But you can come to the Dolphin website and you can book a demonstration for your team. You can contact our team on info@yourdolphin.com and we can arrange a demonstration, or there's an option through the website as well. So yeah, and it'd be great to book a course so we can go into more details and really go into how the assistive technology can really help to support your students. So I shall stop the screen share there, Mary, and we'll go back to me.
Thank you. Bang on time. That was exactly 30 minutes. Well done. With the AI that's being built in, is there an option to ask sort of follow-up questions from that? I know you had the AI sort of describing the image.
Oops. Yes, there is. So my camera's on and off. Yes, there is, Mary. That's a very good point. You can ask those follow-up questions. So often, if you do need a little bit of extra detail, by default, the answers are really good in detail, but you can ask additional questions as well. So, for example, on the diagram of the volcano, I might want to know what the side vent is, and then the AI will come back and will give you a really good description. So you can, again, be more independent with your access to, it really does bring diagrams and images and charts to life. It really is fantastic.
Yeah, wonderful. Were there any questions from anyone else that's on the call? Feel free to unmute and ask your question if you want to, or if you have a comment. Let's see any questions in the chat. Namita says, thank you very much for this session.
That's great. Thank you, Namita.
Lovely. Well, if there's there, hi Carly.
Sorry, just really quickly, can you change the pace of when it reads back? Because at one point it was chapter 1:1.
Yeah, you can.
And I know that some students find that a little bit difficult when it's not kind of reading it as you would read it. Yeah,
absolutely. There's options to customize the entire, everything from choosing particular colors, choosing particular mouse pointers, the magnification level and the speech. You can choose different voices. You can choose different reading speeds. You can go to, everything is very customizable, which again brings us back to the kind of theme for this, which is putting learner needs at the heart. It's all about each learner's individual needs, because we know that accessibility means different things for different students.
So you can change the pace. So would I have to put a full stop in there? Because it's reading the book.
No, you can change.
Do you see what I mean? So I understand the customizations, but it kind of read from one sentence straight onto the next.
Yeah, if there's no comma there or full stop, it will think that it's one whole sentence. Yeah, you're right. But you can slow the voice down and speed the voice up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Carly.
Lovely. Thank you very much. I don't think there's any more questions from anyone there on the chat. Anne says very interesting, and Karen says thank you as well. The new editions do look great. Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, it's we get lots and lots of students giving lots of really good feedback on EasyReader and SuperNova. So yeah, thank you very much, Karen.
Yeah, thanks ever so much, Simon. I'm going to stop the recording and end the session there. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, everyone.